Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Trish. I am an ambulatory wheelchair user with chronic illnesses, and I use this channel to show you what my day-to-day life is like. I still don't fully have my voice back. I went to the doctor yesterday. I got some medicine. Hopefully it's coming back. Welcome to my second live. I'm still awkward. And I think I picked a spot with really bad lighting here, but we're just going to go for it. I have some notes, but I really just want to talk with you today. A lot of what I share on this channel is how I navigate amusement parks, zoos, things like that. How I live my life out in the world as a disabled person. But today, I want to talk about just how I live my life and how I've been able to do that. I have a medical condition called gastroparesis. It is like a condition that causes slow gastric motility. And in my case, no gastric motility. My stomach really doesn't move. So today's video is for people who have been like newly diagnosed or are really struggling, because it can get better. It won't be great, but it can get better. And gastroparesis is an incredibly frustrating medical condition, so I want you to know you're not alone. Excuse the pauses as I look at my notes, because I have so much I want to talk about today. In this video, I'm going to share some advice I have, and I'm also going to dig into my story, how I got diagnosed, what I've done since I've been diagnosed, things like that. And it's a long story, so it could take hours, so I'm not going to talk about it all, but I do want to give you a little idea of how I got to where I am today. So if you're watching now, I want to invite you to keep watching, and let's have an honest conversation about life with gastroparesis. And if you're watching after this live ended, that's great too. I'd still love to hear your feedback. I don't remember a time like ever where my stomach functioned normally. Even in childhood, I was always sick. I went home a lot, like from school, and I really was made to feel at times like I was making a big deal about it or there was nothing wrong. But I knew that there was. I didn't really pursue it though. Things got real bad the year before I got married. So 2008, I was doing my student teaching for my degree in early childhood education, and I could not stop getting sick. This video may have some language that gets a bit gross. So just heads up. I couldn't stop throwing up. I was throwing up food I had eaten days before. I kept going to the emergency room. My now husband, then fiance, bless him, he kept taking me. He took me to a few different emergency rooms trying to find out what was wrong. And finally, they did find what they thought was wrong, which was my gallbladder failed. So they took it out, said, hey, you'll be good as new in a few weeks, but I wasn't. Back into the hospital I went. At that point, they did bring up gastroparesis. They did a like gastric emptying study, but For those of you who have never had a gastric emptying study, you generally get a decent portion of radioactive eggs and toast, and I couldn't keep it down. You have to sit with it for a while before they can do the test, and it just did not stay in my stomach. So they couldn't do the test. So at that point, they discharged me from the hospital and said, go see your doctor. American healthcare is great. I got married. I finished my degree, all that. I was still struggling, but it got a little better. Then I got the H1N1 flu that was going around. And I'm going to stop a minute because I see a comment. Hi, Dave. Thank you for watching. And I am so sorry to read about all those struggles you're having. I hope something in this video can help you. And if not, I hope you know that you're not alone, and I hope someone in your life is making you feel heard about your struggles. So I had a squirrel moment, but I will do my best to acknowledge any comments I see as soon as I see them. In 2009, I had been married less than a year, and I got the H1N1 virus that was going around. And life did a 360. Nothing has ever been the same. I was in and out of the hospital. I had tons of mystery symptoms. A lot was similar to what people are getting today with long COVID, but we didn't have the same level of communication back then. Paper charts were still a thing. It was a long time ago. So I was having tons of complications, and one of those complications was another increase in vomiting. This time I had not been able to eat anything. I went from hospital to hospital, doctor to doctor, got transferred. And that is when I got my official diagnosis of idiopathic gastroparesis. And what ended up happening, I know this now, the H1N1 set off like a firestorm of metabolic issues, much like long COVID does. Because that can happen with any virus. And I've already had the medical issues, but I didn't know I had them. And the virus like brought them front and center. They probably would have eventually showed themselves, but they came out dramatically all at once. So to talk more about that would take up too much room on this feed. But that is basically how I got sick enough with gastroparesis to get diagnosed. And I'm going to stop again to read a comment. Dave, I'm really sorry that you feel like you don't have anyone, and I hope that you are able to find some kind of companionship by watching videos like this, because I've been there. Even though I did always have a supportive family, it feels so isolating to have issues like this. And it can be really hard. And I am going to talk more about how hard it is and how lonely it is in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm trying to stick to my notes here, but I get easily distracted. I, at one point, had a feeding tube. Then I went on to TPN. And eventually, I was able to get a surgery that was kind of experimental at that point in time. but it's called a gastric jejunoscopy, and basically it's sort of like a gastric bypass, but not quite. And that slowly, after a lot of healing time, allowed me to eat again. So that is kind of my story. It's a shortened version. Uh, if there's anything that needs clarified or you have any questions about the diagnosis process, let me know and I'll try to answer them either in the comments or in a separate video. Because I've already been talking to you for 10 minutes, so I feel like it's time to move on to the stuff that's actually helpful. I have had to come to terms with my diagnosis and work around my limitations. And I think you can too. But it's not all rainbows and unicorns. I do not sell toxic positivity here. Nothing I'm going to tell you is going to make it go away. Nothing's going to make the pain go away. Nothing's going to make the medical condition go away. That's not how I roll. I'm not going to make any of those claims. I just want to share what I've learned. So let's move on to that. First of all, take a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Take things one day at a time. That's all you can do sometimes. There are others who are walking this path, even though it feels like there aren't. I know so many times I have felt like I am the only one that is going through this, but I'm not. There are other people fighting beside you, and you can find them. And even if you don't, sometimes it helps to know that your struggles might be unique to you, because we all struggle differently, but there is a community who understands. The most important thing I would say is to find a good doctor, especially a good GI doctor, but also a good PCP. Fire as many GI doctors as you feel like you need to. I've had at least 6. I can't even keep track. But that's okay. There is nothing wrong with keeping looking until you find what you need. Don't make anyone let you feel bad about it. Finding a doctor that is knowledgeable about gastroparesis, listens to you, and will let you be an active part of your treatment is just essential to quality of life. My doctor I have now is great. There's a few things I don't like, but nobody's perfect. And that has made a big difference. I actually, without him, may have been talked into a surgery that I probably don't need at this point because another doctor tried to tell me I needed surgery urgently. And my doctor really sat down, took at least 20 minutes to talk about the pros and cons, and we decided to wait. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is eat teeny, tiny little meals. Graze. Do not try to only eat 3 times a day. That's actually something that I struggled with. Recently, I'd been doing good with it, and then I got to eating a little bigger meals, and it did not end well. So just little snacks here and there is the way to go. The next thing I want to talk about is make sure you're drinking enough water. And I know that is so hard because I don't know about you, but I have trouble with liquid and solids in the same time frame. I can't do it. So I try to drink a bottle of water, then wait a half an hour or so, then eat my little meal, and that seems to work. I do seem to be able to get enough water. A friend actually introduced me to something called Liquid IV, and that has been great. You just put it in a bottle of water and it really boosts hydration. It has helped me avoid several emergency room trips. So if you've never heard of that, check it out. Another thing, which I said I'd get back to how you could not feel so lonely, online support groups, specifically Facebook groups, but there's other kinds, are very helpful. And you don't have to be an active participant. I tend to be a lurker, but even just reading that other people are going through the same thing I am really does help me, especially when I'm extra sick. So if you just Google gastroparesis under Facebook groups, I guess it wouldn't be Googling, it would be searching, but whatever. Search gastroparesis under Facebook groups. You'll find tons of them. Some are active, some are not. Everyone has preferences on what they like in a Facebook group, so I don't want to suggest any. Just kind of get a feel for what works for you. I've made a few friends on these groups. I've found people that live kind of close-ish. They are a great way to communicate with others. Okay, I'm sorry, this is getting so long. So I am going to wrap things up. But before I go, I do want to share a little about what foods work for me. Now, this is not medical advice. Nothing in this video is medical advice. I put that disclaimer in the description. This is just what I've learned from my time as a gastroparesis patient. My go-to proteins are fish, chicken, and turkey. Beef, not so much, especially not like steak. I just had an incident over Memorial Day where I'm like, I'm feeling good. I'm going to try some steak and salad. Did not end well. So, harder to digest meats like steak and pork, I do try to stay away from. White rice and pasta both make my tummy happy. I seem to digest those fairly well. Bananas are a great one because they have potassium, and a potassium deficiency is nothing to mess with. So I do a lot of smoothies and blended meals, and I always put a banana in my smoothie. I cannot digest most raw vegetables. I mentioned salad making me sick easier, which is a shame because I love it. Salad's my favorite. I have to do without, though. I have to stay away from like popcorn, nuts, seeds, all that, because that is all hard to digest. I do sometimes have a small amount of those no-go foods I mentioned. In some of the videos, you may see me tasting them. I generally don't eat a lot of them. I know a video that was fairly popular recently that I did is trying the new Spider-Man Whopper at Burger King. And that was so much fun to make. That was my daughter's request. So I ate some of it. She ate a lot of it. And I was okay, but I wouldn't have been able to eat a whole one, or I wouldn't be able to do that all day. Not all day, every day. I wouldn't have been able to eat one of those every day. So sometimes those no-go foods are okay in a tiny little amount for me. It's really all a trial and error process. I want to thank you for watching. Um, Dave, I want to thank you for your comments. It was nice to talk to you. Actually, the last live I did, nobody watched it all during the live process. So it's nice to talk to a person while I do this. If anyone watching, either now or when this replays, has any questions, please let me know. Or if you just want to share your experience with gastroparesis, I'd love to read about it. I know these are not my most popular videos. When I talk about disability related things, they don't get as many views. But you know what? If I reach one person, then it was worth my time to me. I've said it before, these videos have my heart. The other videos are fun, but these ones are the videos that I just love to make, and I love that I have a voice to make them. Because there was a time in my journey where I wasn't medically stable enough that I would be able to do this. So I'm just thankful I have an opportunity. If you are new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. I sprinkle videos like this in, but I also visit amusement parks, zoos, unique attractions, unique stores, just about everything. And I do most of that in my wheelchair. So I also share the accessibility. It is time for me to go. This video lasted way longer than I thought it would. But thank you for watching, and I will see you later.